It's that time of year when growers in the Northern Hemisphere have to make final decisions about what we're going to be growing this season. Ambition, dreams, excitement can play a big part in this, especially for those of us who have the luxury of abundance around us. But an increasing number of people have financial pressures and concern for the food security of their family to consider. Others will feel the need to grow a lot more in response to global issues such as waste, biodiversity loss, climate change, and a concern for the future. And those of us who grow for a market will have issues of demand and access to customers to consider. All this needs to be balanced with anticipated time, resources, available land, finances, and skill. And finding a balance in all of this can be really difficult. I don't really like to advise new growers as so much depends on context and preferences. And I'm also split between two opposing beliefs. On the one hand, I want to encourage growers to start simple, to delay their dreams and ambitions, and to have small successes before moving on. On the other hand, I want to encourage growers to dive deep, to learn, to explore, to fail, and to seek to develop skills with a speed and focus that reflects the urgency that is needed to respond to the rapidly changing world around us. I have a comparable split personality about my own growing, which manifests itself in two different parts of this Red Gardens project. One part has been more consistently successful through Restraint, and the other part is full of potential but has been more problematic as a result. The 7 family scale gardens is a complicated enough part of the project, with each of the gardens following a different method that I needed to keep track of. When I first started this project, I wanted to include everything that I was interested in, but a lot of this got in the way of the primary objective of comparing and contrasting the different methods. So what I'm trying to do in each garden has simplified over the years, and I've reduced the range of vegetables as a result. I'm still growing a reasonable variety, but trying to stick with what is typical or most appropriate for this climate, and not necessarily what I want to really grow. I'm also trying to grow the same thing each year and sticking to a limited range of common varieties. This regularization is an attempt to reduce variables to make it easier to compare each of the gardens and to compare the differences between one year and the next. For example, I used to grow a different variety of squash in each of the gardens as I liked the diversity and I wanted to try a number of different types to see which one grew best. Now I only grow one reliable variety across all of the family scale gardens, and I grow the same variety each season. This all makes it easier to keep track of changes and differences, and in a way it makes it easier to learn how to grow by reducing variables so I can better understand what is happening. This is a focus on practice and skills to get better at learning to manage and evolve each of the gardening methods. In many ways, the larger scale black plot is a release valve in response to the constraints that I've placed on the family scale gardens. And as a result, it's in serious danger of failure from trying to do too much. It's a much larger and tougher site, and I've really struggled to get it established, but there's so much potential with this space. The main purpose is to explore the issues, benefits, and possible resilience of growing at a scale like this. I hope to do a lot of explorations to try all the interesting things that I come across. I want to do variety trials on many crops, to find varieties of vegetables that grow well in my context, and to explore the possibilities of increasing resilience through this diversification, and I want to get back into seed saving. Of course, all of this increases the workload, and not just in the garden, but in tracking progress, recording data, and all the analysis that goes along with it. I just need to find a way of managing all of this from a time and a resource perspective, and I need to accept the fact that I'm going to continue to falter and fail occasionally, but there's some valuable learning in that as well. So what's the best approach? Is it better to be guided by Constraint or Exuberance? Personally, I've been much more successful with the family scale gardens once they were more constrained and focused. On the other hand, I've really struggled to get the black plot established, but mostly because of its larger scale. It's simply too much for the amount of time that I've been able to devote to it. But as the series of family scale gardens settles into a nice groove, I'm hoping that the interest and excitement of trying lots of new stuff in the black plot will help me focus the time that a project of this scope really needs and deserves. And in the process, I hope to be able to channel that exuberance into abundance. Of course, the production of these videos is also a driving force within this project. The family scale gardens are so rich in potential content as a set and individually that so long as I keep managing them well, there will be plenty of interesting stuff to share. On the other hand, the possibilities of producing videos is starting to really influence what I'm planning to do in the Black Plot, as there's so many really interesting things to explore over the coming seasons. If you'd like to help me on this and to enable me to spend more time on this project, please check out my Patreon page linked here or in the description below. And as always, thanks for watching.